Hello, I'm Michael Wine, and welcome to my build along. I'm building my world, fantasy world named Pyar. Um, and yeah, this is gonna be fun. So let me just zoom in here. So what we need to do today is we need to finish. Let's see, my goal here will be to finish the events for the escape, the Long Enough Survivors escape route. So I need to just add in a couple more places maybe along this route to get to Shadow. So okay. So once they get to breaching the ford, they need to come here, travel north, cross this small river, and then here's the place where they decide to build their village. Now what I'm thinking is that in this area I want to have kind of a large plain, maybe hills, rock formations, where a bunch of kind of outcast Srel have made their home. So this entire region is going to be kind of like a wilderness filled with Srel, which are huge, um, kind of dragon-like, human-like creatures. And so the reason why Shadow is relatively safe for these people is because it's far enough away from Hyarn, which is the kingdom of the half-breed human Srel people. And this kingdom of Hyarn is not going to want to come through this region because it has too many regular Srel in it. So they are safe for the time being from the kingdom. But they're still in danger, sort of, from the Srel. So they come here, they probably make camp here, and I'm thinking that here is where they notice the large encampments of Srel, and where they realize that further south is filled with Srel, and Srel eat humans, so they're not going to go south. So that's why they just suddenly turn around and go north. So I'm just going to call this camp at the northern plain. And this camp, the existence window of this camp is going to be really tiny. So let me think here. What is this? I'm going to zoom in more. This is crossing the ford. Oh yeah, look at this. All of these events just kind of clumped together here. That Shadow is founded crossing the ford. So day 182, this is, so day 164 is when they cross the ford, and day 182, 3 weeks later, is when they found Shadow. So if it takes them Takes them a week to get here. They kind of camp here for a while, explore the surrounding region for about a week, and then they travel up here for another week. So I'm going to say about 7 days after this. So day 1, bad at math, I guess. 171. So if I hover over here, day 171 is when I want this to exist, and I want it to disappear about, actually, I want it to disappear about a week later, so day 178. Yeah. And then at that time, I'm going to add the event. Survivors turn north. Going to use the current time and add the characters here. Okay. And then, yeah. And then at this time, since the place began at this time, I'm going to copy that value and then create an event that starts at that time, just to say, survivors make camp in the North Plains. And I'm going to add the same characters back. So we're just creating events, creating places one at a time, making sure the story is progressing. Now we have the next little piece here, so we can go Founding of Shadow, plot thread, again change it to chronological. I'm not really concerned about the reading order because, again, I'm just kind of setting up the backstory for my current novel, but chronologically this is how it works, and it shows you the progression, which is pretty cool. So I think that's the last piece. The last piece in this plot thread. So we have they flee, they go to the ferry, they go to Splinterwood, they stay there for a long time. Creatures wake up from the lake, they attack the village, they run away, cross the river, make camp, and then a week later they leave and go to Shadow. So so between making camp and leaving, there is some sort of thing that happens in this area where I'm thinking they make camp here because it's kind of in a sheltered spot. Maybe it's at the base of a hill. They still have some food. Maybe they find a herd, like some sort of herd where they can hunt. They can catch some food and kind of survive, and then branch out because there's a forest. It's in between two forests here. So this is the forest where they came from. And they see a forest up here with the mountains, and they also see kind of a fertile plain. And so they need to decide where to go. They're not going to go back north, but they are going to explore out to see where a good spot to to live is. So I'm thinking some people go back to the trees, some people go down south, some people go up here, and the people who go down south find out that there's an entire region filled with roaming bands of Srel. And the Srel are living here because there are herds of, I don't know, like maybe it's a savanna. Like maybe there are herds of wildebeest type creatures and that type of thing. So they don't want to go south. They decide to go north. Found the village there. Okay. So that actually kind of feels like it is at a good spot. What just happened? um, I don't know. Trying to find my bearings here. Okay, so here's the clump of events. So there it is. Zoom in some more. Okay, so what happens is the camp disappears because that is when they leave the camp. So it's not a permanent place. So this camp is not going to be a permanent place. It disappears after just a short little week. I wonder if I have a camp icon here. Castle ruins, but I thought I had a camp icon. Well, maybe not. Castle, catapult, cauldron, no camp. Huh. Well, I guess I will go ahead and pick a tree growth. There's probably some trees in this area. Okay. So that was fun. That is helpful. It kind of establishes that part of the story, which is pretty cool. I'm excited about that. So now what I want to do is figure out what happens, because Splinterwood is going to get destroyed in the Minotaur attack. So I'm going to copy this value. That's when Splinterwood gets destroyed, but it gets destroyed probably a little bit after the time of the attack. Now, hold on a second. There we go. So that shows that it gets destroyed. Lake Ingram still stays there. Breaching Ford. Yeah, I mean, I guess the ford is... I'm just trying to think, like, do I need to make that go away? I don't know. I guess. Figure that out. Alright, so I kind of have the Lana Survivor Founding of Shadow plot thread done. which is cool. Mostly done. I mean, I think I might add more to it later if I want to develop that into a full story. But that's kind of the skeleton of it. Now I kind of want to go all the way back and think about how this migration has happened over time. By the way, I wonder if I have a lake or something. There's a river, there's salmon. I'll use the salmon icon for the lake. Okay, so far post. I'm gonna make this a bell because that's cool. I need to determine what. So this is kind of interesting. The timeline says year 4210 to year 4260. So this is only a 50-year span, and this bar here shows you how zoomed in it is. So I mean, it's just crazy how much you can zoom in. Like I can zoom in and see the days of the year, even the time of day. Like if I zoom in super far, which is kind of insane. But then click full extent and it goes right back. So now that is kind of a cool. Kind of see everything popping up. All right, so far post. Here's the rending. This is the rending reaching forward. I don't know. I don't want it to exist right now. I'm gonna say 500. Looks like it jumped there. That's interesting. So outpost 20 turns into far post. And then what happens? So I'm thinking we have, when the first people set out from far post to explore and kind of explore the rest of the world, I'm going to say they go out north, east, and south. And people who are going south, they want to make it back here because this whole area was once a thriving human culture back in the pre-war times. So during this war between the human and the Srel, this entire area was this huge, civilization. Like look at all these rivers. It's kind of like Egypt in a way. And the capital was here, but this was kind of this massive fertile area with farmland. Actually, the capital wouldn't be in here. It would probably be over here, but this would be like a fortress or a keep or a pass, defending the pass from this way. Something like that. But when in the war, everybody was forced to kind of wall off. So for a long time, this entire area was just a massive civilization that was empty, like empty cities, empty buildings, and they had to do that because the Srel could easily come in and just wipe everybody out. So everybody had to run into the fortified center of these mountain ranges. And so the first thing somebody would want to do if they were an explorer in this new world is go back south and populate these cities. I mean, it would be super easy. I think a lot of the cities would be destroyed by the earthquake that happened here. But the land itself didn't get torn up that much. Most of the blast was focused northward, I guess. And this curve that on the southern side blew up, but it didn't really, impact the land itself in this continent. So the cities are probably still accessible, even though most of the buildings would be destroyed. There might be some that remained, and there's probably a lot of cool artifacts they could find. So that's cool. Some people would obviously go north, exploring these hills, maybe settle up here, settle some settlements in this area, and maybe even up here. It seems like that would be pretty crazy to go up this far into the colder regions. And then, so I'm guessing the first direction somebody would go would be north. That seems like the easiest one. Kind of following the coast, settling in this area. And then people would venture east and then south. So I'm thinking of when all that stuff happened. So here I have, this is when Longnath was founded in 2897, which is about 900 years after the rending. So you know what? I'm just gonna choose a time and pop a place here. Right click the map to place it. It will exist. Okay, so I just right click the map. So I'm gonna say the first, where's a good spot for a settlement? So people would probably find the coast, travel up, maybe cross this, and so the first explorers would probably go this way up. I would think they would settle here. I'm just gonna call this first settlement for now, because I don't want to think of a name, which has been a recurring struggle for this channel. It's just thinking of names. Like, man, thinking of fantasy names, you could just struggle with that for forever, I guess. Unless you like just do the standard 2-word name like Dark Bone or uh, Flight Tree. I don't know. You think of two words, 2 one-syllable words, and put them together. That's a name. Like Far Post. There you go. So first settlement there. And I don't know if anybody would want to settle by the ocean on this side. This seems like a good area for settlement by the mountain and the rivers, so probably another settlement would happen here. Actually, uh, Where should I place this guy? By the base of the mountains? I mean, right here seems like a good place. Mountain, river. So you got natural defense, river. There could even be another settlement down here. Maybe. I hope I'm spelling settlement right. First, second, third. Okay. So, and then the fourth settlement. So by the time the third settlement pops up, soon after that, we're going to say people arrive on this side and start settling that. So we're going to move the slider a bit and then add another place. Maybe one of the few towns that survived was kind of further away from the blast. So like maybe right here. Fourth settlement. So now we have progression. So far post, 500 people. And far post lasts all by itself for a long time because they're just trying to survive. I mean, they have nothing. Their technology stops working. They have some magic users, but they don't have any way to. They don't have any farms. Like they're going to be just concerned with basic survival tasks for a long time, and there's probably some disaster that happens that wipes out some of them. So they barely pull through. They start repopulating this area, and eventually they finally get to a place where they're stable enough that they can actually send people out. So settlement 1, I mean, the very first settlement appears in 2375. Farpost appears, or Outpost 20, so Farpost appears in the year 2000. So, yeah, 375 years later is when this first settlement is actually founded. And that sounds reasonable to me. 300 years to kind of stabilize before it can send people out. I think that sounds actually pretty good. Just because I like having the dashes on the slider here, I'm going to add an event. It says Outpost 20 renamed to Far Post. World time. I don't remember what the time was, so Oh yeah, it was just 2000. The year 2000. Y2K. By the way, this is kind of neat. So this is Outpost 20, but because I added a state here, let me just move this over a little bit so it makes more sense. But this is Outpost 20, but because I have a place state, I can say it becomes Farpost at year 2000. So Outpost 20 exists from 1851, but in the year 2000, it becomes Farpost. So then if I slide the slider, it becomes Farpost. And that little red one means, hey, Outpost 20 was renamed Farpost. That one is an event. I don't know. I just think that's cool. Okay, that is about all I have time for today. Made some really good progress. First thing was we finally finished the Escape from Lonath arc, the Founding of Shadow arc, and we have the main structure of that sequence there. We kind of solved one problem of why they didn't come south into this big area, why'd they go back north. And then we added some more settlements. So we're kind of mapping out how the humans repopulated the world. So what I want to do next time is continue that, kind of showing what happened up north, and then what happened over here. What happened with the Srel? How did the Srel get here? Because this explosion kind of wiped out all the Srel everywhere. So how did the Srel come back? So I'm going to start with that, with the nesting grounds up here, how some of the eggs finally hatched, how the Srel kind of spread, took over this continent. And then the other thing that I've been mulling over is this Relan continent. What to do about it? Because if you notice, pre-rending, there's this one spot that is the same. And I'm thinking there's probably, like, this is the farthest away from the explosion. Pretty much, other than this area. But I'm thinking there's probably some survivors. Like there's maybe some survivors that were able to live and survive the blast down here. So it'd be interesting to see how does that work. Like maybe they're yeah, I don't know. I that's the only thought I have on that. All right. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Again, this is Michael Wine. I'm building this world in Realm Stitch, my app that I designed, which you can buy on realmstitch.com for $24.99 right now. I would appreciate any comments, any likes on the video, and subscribe if you want to. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Talk to you later.